Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Murray, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of The Gift of Giving. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this program focuses on the non-profits, foundations, and 501c3s right here in the state of Nevada. These are the organizations and individuals who are making our world a better and brighter place. And today's guests, we are featuring the Foundation of Young Musicians. And we'd like to welcome the board president,
Yes.
Arturo
Yes.
Ochoa, and he's bringing along a guest, one of his proteges,
Yes.
Carla Beltran, and her mother, Yohara Beltran. Thanks for coming with us and joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. So, first of all, Arturo, let's start with you. Could you please give us a brief overview of the organization and when it was founded? I think our viewers always like to know
Yes.
what we're going to be talking about.
Well, the organization has a really interesting beginning. It started with the words, "That's impossible."
Oh.
Hal Weller, who was the founder of FAYM, was the conductor of the Las Vegas Philharmonic, and he was very much into watching videos of YouTube of, uh, of, of musicians. He saw a young man in Poznan, Poland, named Krzysztof Brzezinski. He saw him play. He was like a high school student. And Hal communicated with him saying, "Congratulations, excellent job." So they started a two-way communication. Hal asked him, "Your English is very good. How come?" "Well, my parents teach English. They make sure that we understand English and Polish, of course."
Mhm.
And so as the conversation went on, Hal asked him, "Do you think you'll be able to come to the United States for the university?" And Christoph responded, "That's impossible. My family has no money." So Hal did not like the words "that's impossible." So he started talking to his friends and connections, was able to get together enough people to support this that they were able to bring Christoph Brzezinski to the United States to go to college.
Oh, how cool
And
is that?
it was just amazing. And before this time, I was a principal of Sunrise Acres Elementary School, which is on Eastern and Stewart. It's a very low income community. And one of the big things that used to bother me as a principal is there was a gang called the 28th Street Gang that was recruiting my students, just trying to get my students, even the young ones, they were recruiting. At one point, the government offered grants for after school programs. So I jumped at the chance and filled out the grant and received a substantial amount of money to do after school programs. In my mind, I would give the kids a safe place to be to do something positive. So I started a science club. I started a chess club. I started a Boy Scout unit, and I started a violin program. We started with kindergartners in violin. And with grant money, I was able to buy 1/8 size instruments, and we taught lessons using Suzuki methods. It was incredible. Hal Weller, who was a conductor of the Philharmonic, heard about us and started visiting our school to see my little babies play. It was wonderful because he played with the big kids. He played with the Philharmonic. He was a conductor, but yet he'd come to my kindergarten concerts to see my little ones play. Eventually, he started bringing Philharmonic musicians to play for my students. The next year, the kids continued in first grade, and we got a new kindergarten group. And Hal Weller started getting more and more involved. By our fourth year, my kids were doing so well. Hal Weller would do the 4th of July patriotic concert in Summerlin in the park, out in the park.
Cool.
And just as the fireworks would go off, the Philharmonic would start with patriotic songs. After my fourth year with my babies, he invited my children to perform for the 4th of July concert in the park, patriotic music. So my kids were front and center with the Philharmonic around them. It was incredible.
Yes.
To see my youngsters performing with the Philharmonic. It was awesome. So, so we had this, Hal Weller and I had this friendship really blossoming. And eventually he and I both retired. And that's when this situation with Krzysztof Brzezinski came up. Hal started FAYM with reaching out with assistance for young people wanting to go to college. That's what started it. FAYM has 3 steps. The first step is easy early music instruction. The second one is assistance with college. And the third is job placement. So those are the 3 steps of FAYM. After he retired and I retired, he asked me if I would help him program the first step, which is early music instruction. And that's how we started the Violins for Kids program. It was incredible. We started with 12 students in kindergarten. And next year we opened it up because the kids continued, and we opened it up and got a new beginning group and started growing from the bottom up. And here we are 16 years later with
Wow, 16 years.
yes, and still doing a wonderful job with our youngsters, giving them the opportunity to learn how to play music. So I'm retired as an educator, but I'm still involved in education and,
Good for you.
and helping our youth just to reach for the stars.
And you've got
Yes.
one student right here who's already reaching for the stars and
Yes.
appears to be achieving some of them, and we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But Carla, you played the violin, and how long have you been playing the violin?
I've been playing for 7 years now.
Oh my goodness. So you really started at a young age.
You were first grade, right?
Second group, but I started at the age of 7, so it's about to be 7 in a
Wow.
few months.
Good grief. That's a long time. And what made you choose the violin? Why? How did that become the instrument of choice for you?
It's kind of a funny story. So, me and my mom, we still love this movie. It's called August Rose, and it's about. I originally wanted the cello, but at that time I was like too young, so they told me go for the violin. And at first I was like, okay, and then I fell in love with the violin. But that I've always, ever since that movie, I've always been like, I want to play music. Like, I really want to play music because it was of an orphan child who didn't know who his mom was, and like he just automatically knew music. Like he had the music in him, and like once you start getting more into the movie, you start to find out that his mom was also part of music, and she was actually a famous cello player. She was in the Philharmonic Orchestra, and I don't know, music just started interesting more.
That's a nice story. Very nice story. Thanks for sharing that. Now, do you foresee yourself as going into music as a career, or do you consider it a hobby, or do you plan, or you haven't figured that far ahead yet?
So as a career, I'm thinking somewhere in the Marines to help in the community.
Oh,
But
nice.
I've started, like, I still want to do music, so I also found out of a program that I can be in the Marines, do the branch that I want to do, but I can also be part of the orchestra there. So I could also be part of the music program. So I think I'm kind of hitting for that.
That's wonderful goals, and it'll fulfill two desires for you. So that's wonderful. Wonderful to hear that. So I'd like to talk about some of the programs. Now, you mentioned that first one, Arturo. That was the early.
Yes.
And the second one was?
Well,
once there are 3 programs.
Well, in the music program, well, we start kids in first grade, where they have no music experience with the violin. We put a violin into the hands and teach them using some Suzuki methodologies. And they can go on to the second year and the third year where they're just progressing in their music. But once they get into their third year, if they have the proficiency, they can join our beginning orchestra or a beginning mariachi. And as they continue to improve, they can audition for the advanced mariachi or the advanced orchestra. So it's really a neat situation because the kids can progress according to their acquired skills.
Gotcha.
And it's just a lot of fun to see them kind of going uphill.
Now, you mentioned the orchestra and the mariachi. Mariachi, I think most people love mariachi, but it's a very small community in the world of music as a whole. So are you catering mainly to the South American audience or Hispanic community?
Well,
Is that
the
for the
reason
mariachi?
the reason for the mariachi is our lessons are on Eastern and Stewart, which is a very high Hispanic percentage
Gotcha.
community.
Okay.
So the majority of our students that come to us are Hispanic.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I saw was we were teaching classical music, and it was wonderful, but the parents did not understand the classical music because they had not been exposed
Sure.
too much to the classical music. So I insisted on starting a mariachi program because that would bring in music of the culture,
Yes.
of the dominant
background
culture. And it's been wonderful to see the mariachi program just blossom because these youngsters are sharing part of the beauty of our culture. It is incredible.
Absolutely. But in mariachi, your programs, you're focused mainly on the violin and cello.
Correct.
And if my understanding of mariachi is correct, there's like 6 instruments involved, and one of them is a trumpet.
Yes.
And is there any reason why we don't have the trumpet part of the program?
Well, typically a mariachi group has one, maybe two trumpets, but it has 6, 7, 8 violinists, so there wasn't the call for that much trumpet. We do have a young man who is part of our mariachi program that plays the trumpet, but we did not give him lessons. He already had some training, so he was able to join us and just add the trumpet realities, which are so important part of mariachi music.
Yes. And what about the vihuela?
Okay. Yes, the vihuela is a smaller guitar, and it just has a different sound, a different tone, which is just wonderful. We do have a beginning vihuela and advanced vihuela class.
Oh, so you have those as well as the cello?
We do have them.
And the violin.
And we also teach guitar and guitarron. The guitarron is the big, wide guitar, like a bass guitar.
Yes.
So we do have guitar, guitarron, and vihuela in a beginning and an advanced class, and they join and play with our intermediate mariachi and our advanced mariachi based on their abilities.
And Carla, so which of the programs are you involved in?
So I'm involved in the orchestra program, the mariachi program, the cello one, and then the beginning armonia mariachi class, which stands for the guitar area, and then I'm also involved in private lessons there.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And
you
I
know
also
what?
sing.
When we're going to take a little sponsorship break, when we come back, you're going to play a couple of pieces for us. We look forward to hearing it. Please stay with us, everyone. We're going to take a brief sponsorship break, and please stay with us, and we'll look forward to being back in a few moments.
Introducing Pacific Coast Capital, your partner in finance. We provide financing for your business. Speed, flexibility, and creativity are the foundation of our service. We'll help you navigate through change and opportunities. Our 90-plus years of experience ensures quick turnaround on loan decisions. Ride the wave to prosperity with us. Ready for new funding? Visit our website today at pacificcoastcap.com.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'd like to thank our sponsor for Pacific Coast Capital for sponsoring this program. If any of you companies out there need financial assistance or a loan, please reach out to Pacific Coast Capital, and they'll be happy to help you out. We'd like to start this segment as promised, and Carla's going to play a couple of pieces for us on the violin. Take it away, Carla.
busque, y si te encuentro, vuelve otra vez. Olvida lo pasado, ya no te acuerdes de aquel ayer. Olvida lo pasado, ya no te acuerdes de aquel ayer.
Wow, that was absolutely incredible, Carla. Boy, not only were you blessed to play the musical instruments, but blessed with a beautiful singing voice. So thank you for sharing that. And for any of those people out there, any of you viewers who are interested in signing up with FAYM, August is the registration time, so please look at the information here and go ahead and sign up. So now, Arturo, maybe you can translate for Yohara. I'd like to ask Carla's mother what advice she has for parents who've got children who are interested in exploring a future in music.
¿Qué mensaje le puede dar a los padres para darles interés en comenzando la música con sus niños?
Buenas tardes, gracias por el apoyo y la invitación. Lo que yo le pudiera decir a los papás es que vayan de la mano hacia los sueños de sus hijos.
She is advising parents to hold your child's hand as they pursue their dreams.
Los dejen experimentar, los dejen tomar sus propias decisiones, cuáles son sus sueños, sus expectativas, pero sobre todo que se acerquen a nuestra fundación, porque yo me siento parte de FAYM, ya que provee instrumentos, maestros altamente capacitados para instruir a la niñez hacia una juventud comprometida en alcanzar los sueños y desarrollar sus talentos.
Okay, she said a little bit too much for me to remember it all, but I'll do my best. She's telling you to make sure that your children are allowed to pursue their dreams, and you as a parent support them and encourage them and give them all the support that they can possibly use in order to realize their dreams. And she's telling parents, please be involved, be part of it. Don't just send your children off by themselves, but accompany them, be part of their lives and be part of their higher learnings and understandings. In other words, be an involved parent.
Wow. Well, wonderful sage advice, and thank you for that. Thank her for that.
Gracias.
Sage advice. Make sure she knows that's very wise advice.
Muy inteligente sus comentarios.
Now, you have competitions. You have a solo competition.
Yes.
And now, how does that work? What are the requirements to be part of the solo competition?
Well, once a student has got some mastery of the violin, we have these competitions in order for them to get into the experience of playing in front of a crowd by themselves and being heard, which is a very difficult thing for people like myself to stand in front and perform by yourself. So it gives the kids a chance to do this and gives they learn from their experiences, but it also gives them a chance to compare themselves with the other young people that are roughly in the same level of musicianship as they are. And it's just a really good opportunity to give the kids to let them, I guess the best way of saying it is to let them show themselves off.
Yes,
because
there's nothing wrong with that.
And these youngsters, they're doing things that the majority of their cohorts, their friends and neighbors that are their age, they're not doing these things. So these youngsters are standing up and performing in public in a very very beautiful way. It takes a lot of courage.
Yes, yes. But mind you, young people, they don't have the fears that as you get older, I think you withdraw a little bit, you feel a bit more nervous. And you have awards for your golden awards for your violin and your cello.
Yes.
And so what are the requirements for that? Because I know Carla's a winner and we're going to come back to her just now. So what are the requirements?
Well, we as a foundation, we loan instruments to our students that are relatively inexpensive. Many times they drop them, they forget them, they lose them, they get abused a little bit here and there. So we loan them inexpensive instruments. But when a child comes to the classes prepared, in other words, they've practiced at home, they've invested time and effort at home to practice to be ready for their class. When they're, at the top of their class, where they don't miss class very often, they're just star students. What we do is we give them an opportunity to earn what we refer to as a golden violin. I'll explain a little bit more in a second. So this, it's not an easy process. They have to write an essay why they think they are qualified to earn a golden violin. They have to do some volunteer work in assisting younger students and helping to teach. They have to be role models. They have to perform several solos for their own classes. In other words, get them used to the idea of performing. The last part is they have to do an audition. This is a one person standing in front of 3 judges. And usually I'm one of the judges. Tim Thomas, our coordinator, is another. And Hal Weller, our founder, is another. And we might have another person or two, but they have to audition for the judges. And it's kind of nerve-wracking because the judges, after the student plays their piece, we will ask them to step outside while we talk and just kind of evaluate their little performance. And after we've made a decision as the judges, we call the student back in and we either let them know they need to work on this, this, and this. We give them specifics, or we tell them, you have earned your golden violin.
Wow.
And Miss Carly here, you've had your golden violin for a little over a year now.
Yeah.
It's an incredible process. Can I describe your experience?
Well,
I was there. We go into a gentleman named Juan Soto is a violin. He's a luthier. He repairs violins and other stringed instruments. He sets up a table with about 8 violins that have a retail value of over $1,000. These instruments are just sitting on the table. The student then plays each one and compares them all along and selects one out of the 8, the one that calls them. So I got to witness Miss Carla playing each one of the violins. She got to a point where she had 2 as a top contenders, but couldn't make her up her mind which of the 2. So we fixed that. We put the 2 violins on the table and put a blindfold on her so she couldn't see. And then I handed her one of the violins, just by touch, and she put it up and played it. Then I took it down from the table and put the other one in her hand. So without looking, just using her ears, she had to select the sound of the 2 violins that she couldn't. And eventually this is the one she chose.
Jeepers.
But
Well, Carla, I'd like to come to you on this because that sounds like grueling
yes.
to get the violin.
I was going crazy.
Yeah, how grueling was that? I mean, which was the most intimidating for you, writing the essay or doing the standing in front of the judges? Which of they all sounded pretty horrific. Well, I'm sure the volunteering and giving back time, that probably came easily and very naturally to you. But which of the others was the most grueling or most intimidating?
The essay wasn't really that hard for me because reading and the writing area has always been kind of my strongest.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, okay. And obviously, I would ask my teachers for help on what good transitions, because I obviously wanted to do a good work on my essays. But I feel like the hardest part, because another requirement is playing for your peers. You have to choose 2 classes, and you have to play. Oh my god, you have to play in front of them. Because playing in front of a jury, you're not in front of your friends, so I feel like it's less nerve-wracking because you're always playing in front of your teachers. So the audition was obviously a little scary for me, but not as scary as playing in front of my whole entire class and my peers. So I feel like that was the hardest part for me.
Oh, I think that's a tough grade to do. Grade all the different tasks that you had to go through. On that note, we're going to take another sponsorship break, and we're going to hear from Josh Widan of Lucia Capital Group Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
At Lucia Capital Group, we've been helping people manage risk and plan for their future through some of the most challenging market conditions. Volatility in the stock market will never go away, so it's really all about your strategy and how you react to it. Our bucket strategy aims to help you manage your financial goals even during the most uncertain times. I'm Joshua Dowden. I've been working with clients here for more than 16 years, and I can help you as well. My office is right here in the heart of Summerlin, just north of Charleston Boulevard. Don't let the stock market determine the quality of your retirement. Call me today for a free consultation. 702-508-6421. That's 702-508-6421.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'd like to thank Joshua Dunn of Lucia Capital Group for being a sponsor of this program. Without our sponsors, there will be no program. And if you're looking to work on your 401k or a company reevaluating your 401k, please reach out to Josh Dowden. I'll give you all the help you need. And I'd like to welcome back our guests, Arturo Ochoa, Carla Beltran, and her mother, Yahara Beltran. Thanks for being with us today. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that you've got going here, because it's not just classes. You've got the Mariachi Estrellas, the FAYM.
Yes.
Would you like to talk a little bit about that program?
The Mariachi Estrellas of FAYM, it's just a wonderful group because many of our students are Hispanic, and to be able to bring in the Hispanic culture music into their hands here in the United States and to have them shine, it's awesome. I grew up in a household where mariachi music was all that my parents played. So for me, it was quite an honor to start this mariachi group and watch it just grow. Right now, our Mariachi Estrellas of FAYM is roughly 12, 13 students, and they are frequently requested by different groups to come and play for them. We play for senior living places. We're going to be at the Atria Seville here in Summerlin, correct?
Yes, I know it well.
And we'll be there in I believe, August. And it's just wonderful to be able to share. Our kids come in full mariachi outfit and regalia and play just a variety of mariachi music. And many of our students sing the mariachi songs with this emphasis and beauty. It's just incredible. It's a very heart-lifting experience to see our Mariachi Estrellas of FAYM perform. The Metropolitan Police Department has a yearly gathering in one of the parks in North Las Vegas, where they have a lot of information for the community, information on health, information on jobs, information on just a variety of things. But they have performers play. This is our second year that they've invited Mariachi Estrellas of FAYM to perform on stage out in the park for the community. It's just a wonderful, heart-rendering experience to see our kids up on stage performing part of our culture. Beautiful.
What are the ages of these kids that are going to be performing?
They will range in age from probably like 9 to 15, 16.
About that.
Wow.
So
That's quite a cross section.
yes,
So
it is. Yes.
good for you. Now you also have college scholarships
Yes.
and career programs. So how does that work?
This past school year, we had 3 of FAYM students that we gave them scholarships to assist them in their pursuit of an education. We have Audrey Bush, who was a very well-known bass player. When she passed away, her relatives had the bass, which was an expensive instrument, and they gave it to FAYM. And they suggested that we sell it and use the money to give away to students. So we have what we call the Audrey Bush Scholarship. And this year we presented it to one of our FAYM students that is looking at being a music teacher. So it's going to a right person in pushing
Nice.
the music.
Nice.
And it's just a wonderful situation to see that. We also have the Dennis Ortwine Scholarship. Dennis Ortwine was an elementary school principal, and he was also on our board. And when he passed away, his family started a little bit of fundraising, and they gave us money for another scholarship. And it wasn't designated necessarily for somebody going into a music career. So we do have monies available to assist our students to go on to their next steps of life. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to to assist
Yes.
these,
Yes,
these
of
young
course.
young people pursue a career interest.
Yes.
So we're hoping that we can get more donations so we can continue to give out more monies to students, not necessarily from FAYM, but other students that are hopefully involved in music in their high schools. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to help.
You mentioned donations. Do you get most of your donations from the public, or do you get government grants or corporate sponsors, or combination of all?
Right now, the majority is through public donations. We have a couple families that make reasonable, sizable donations, and then a lot of smaller donations that can be done through our website. But currently, we're looking at some funding issues because our expenses are not at the same level as the donations. So we're looking to see what we can do to get a little bit more funding in order to make things possible. We apply for grants. We get an occasional grant. So we're trying.
Yes.
We're trying very
Trying
hard
your best.
to keep this program going.
Should try reaching out to the Latin Chamber of Commerce. Maybe
Yes.
they'll help you out.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So, now you also have a summer camp. Now, did you go to the summer camp at all?
Yes.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a wonderful opportunity. The best part is it was free. It was a 2-week summer camp that we opened it up to our students. There were a few students that were not FAYM students. I think there was like 4 that we asked them for a small contribution to attend our summer camp. But we got off the directions here and there to do things that were different. For instance, 5-gallon plastic buckets from Home Depot. Just plastic buckets. We put them into the hands of our younger kids with drumsticks, and they turned these 5-gallon buckets into incredibly sounding drums. It was wonderful to listen to them play in tune with each other, in the beat with each other. It was wonderful to see them use these 5-gallon buckets. And so all the other classes, of course, we had our mariachi class, we had our orchestra class. So they had different classes at the summer camp. And then after 2 weeks, we had a beautiful recital that was just incredible to see our students go on stage and perform and do a beautiful job. And the buckets were awesome.
It sounds a wonderful note to round out our program.
Yes.
So, I'd like to thank you all for being on this program today. Really appreciate it. And would you like to give us your website information in case people want to reach out to you?
Yes, we have a lot of information on our website, lots of pictures of our students and just lots of information. But if you go onto the website, it's www. and then all lowercase, TheFAYM, THEFAYM, no space, just TheFAYM.org. So it's www.thefame.org with no space in the middle.
It's a very, very comprehensive website. There's a lot of information out there. And if any of you viewers are out there who know of somebody who is looking to get a career in music or who enjoys music, especially the violin or the cello, and would like to be part of this amazing organization, please feel free to share this interview and to reach out to them on their website. It truly is an amazing organization. Again, thank you, Arturo, for being with us. Thank you, Carla, for coming. Muchas gracias, Yohara.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank John Stars, the show's producer and owner of WWDBTV. Without him, this program would not be possible. And also without our sponsors, Pacific Coast Capital, Lucia Capital Group, and Ralph Champion, whose message you'll hear at the end of this program. If you have any comments or questions, please reach out to me at Stephen@thegiftofgiving.Vegas. I'd certainly love to hear from you. And finally, I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this program and that you will share it with others and that you'll join us again next week. In the meantime, please stay safe, be kind to one another. and have a great week. Bye for now.
Mr. R.J. Champion is proud to sponsor WWDB-TV's series, The Gift of Giving, and wishes the program much success. Congratulations and gratitude to the featured guests and the organizations they represent. Our community is well served by your tireless efforts to make Nevada a better state for all its residents.